Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Pop Go the Writers. You're muted, Paul. There you
Darn.
go. There we go.
Yep.
So this is episode 28, and we weren't sure tonight was going to be an episode, but we're here anyway.
We'll see. We'll know about 7:30 your time, whether it was an episode or not.
Yes. Yeah, I had a birthday party to go to this evening that, as everything else has been affected by the pandemic, the birthday girl had a potential COVID, potential COVID exposure. And that came in about halfway through the week. They got tested and got the results this morning, negative, no problem. But it did just kind of mess things up. So everything had to get canceled, which left me around. And Paul went, yeah, let's do it. So we are here.
Sure, Dan.
Yep.
That sounds good.
So had an interesting week this week. Yesterday specifically. The other site I work on, the comic book shopping experience, the comic book store experience. The experience is what they call it. I don't know what the actual thing is.
EXP1.
Yes, the one that replays Pop Go the Writers, and I do the Dan Wickline show on. They were doing their Post-it Note anniversary tonight, or this weekend. And the Post-it Note is the 6-month anniversary. They figured, hey, 1 year is paper. 6 months ought to be Post-it Note. That's the brilliance of Kyle Northrup. Well, they put out a list of potential people to interview. It's like, hey, Dan, do you want to pop in over the weekend and interview anybody? And normally I'm gone for the weekend. I go up to the desert, hang out with Lisa or whatever. So I don't really spend a lot, do much on the weekends. But again, things got postponed. So I was around and I saw the name Danny Fingeroth on the list. And Danny just completed the novel or the book, A Marvelous Life, The Amazing Story of Stan Lee. And I was 10 hours into the audiobook of 14 hours, and I thought, hey, I'll do that one. I can finish the book by then. So I prepped. I finished the book. I watched a couple of video interviews he had so I could get an idea of the questions that he's used to getting asked, because you don't want to ask the same questions, especially somebody who's been in the industry, since the 70s. And
So Danny, how about question 5?
Yeah, exactly. So so how'd you get into comics? And those type of questions. I try not to ask those questions, but so I wanted to talk to him. Also, with it being Jack Kirby's birthday yesterday, I thought it would be a good time to talk about. Okay. So it's a combination of Jack's, and Stan. What were they like together? What was your experience with both of them? Stuff like that. And I think it was a really good interview. It's probably one of my favorite having conducted. It was just a fun interview, and you can see it on the experience. But that all wrapped up, and Kyle gave me this kind of heads up, like, stick around for a second. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then next thing I know, I'm on screen for the next interview along with him and the guest. And I have no idea. I've not heard of the company. I don't know who this person is. And Kyle's internet's a little dodgy and Jenna's there. So she's out. But I'm like, I went from being really prepared for an interview to completely winging it. So both of them turned out to be fun interviews. And Enrica Jang from Red Stylo Media was the second interview.
Yeah. Enrica's terrific.
Yeah, but I've never met her. I didn't know anything about her books or anything. So I just kind of, asked questions from a writer to a writer, or questions as an editor, those kind of things. And I think it went pretty well, but it was just kind of, so I'm here for one interview and I got kidnapped for the second.
Was it because their internet was spotty? And
Kyle's been under the weather. He's actually dealing with something that he's currently in the hospital. So he's broadcasting from his hospital room.
Nice.
So not the best internet inside of a hospital.
Yeah.
But it was a good show, and it was a good weekend. I know they finished up more of the interviews today. And, it was a great weekend over on The Experience. If you're looking for some really good interviews, pop over there. They're going to replay all of these. They'll put them up as interviews. I think they'll be chopped up into individual bite-sized pieces, but
I saw that our former guest, Tom Zoller, was
yes, America's Tom Zoller.
Yes. Man's man, ladies man, man about town.
Tom Zoller, Russell Nolte was on there, the guys from Behemoth. And I feel really bad for the guys from Behemoth because they were talking about how they've got this big project coming up involving this famous actor. And they said, well, actually, it's this famous actor and his famous brother cousin. Oh, his famous cousin. And they were trying to dance around, and I went, are you guys and I asked the question in chat because I was just watching it. I'm like, is it Stephen Amell? They went white.
See, I forget that Robbie is his cousin, not his...
I know.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's an unannounced thing, but so I probably shouldn't talk about that. Anyway.
Probably not.
I felt bad that
So now you're saying you did not actually get confirmation from them?
No, definitely did not get confirmation at all, unless you count them turning ghostly white and glaring at each other in utter horror. But no, overall, no, they did not confirm it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They never actually gave you the... So, their asses are covered is what I'm saying.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And then they joked about, well, that'll be on Bleeding Cool tomorrow. And I'm like, I'm not with Bleeding Cool anymore. They're like, oh, God, you used to work for Bleeding Cool.
I was going to say, for all we know, you could still be a little bleeder.
Nope. I have not done anything with Bleeding Cool in a long time.
Yes.
So I think 2018 was the last time I did anything over there.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go on to the sad news. The passing of Ed Asner. That's not a great way to start off a day, is it?
No, he had that quality to him that you just thought, this guy is going to just keep going. He just had this kind of, it wasn't so much that he seemed like invincible or but just like through dogged determination, he would muscle through anything.
Oh, yeah. 91 years old and working constantly.
Constantly, yes.
I mean, you look on IMDb, he's got like 24 projects that haven't come out yet.
Yeah.
In either post-production, pre-production,
Yeah, and tweeting up a storm and being hilarious and insightful all along the way.
Oh, yeah. And he would take on just little tiny... He popped up on an episode of Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
Just out of the blue. It's like, why is Ed Asner on this show?
Yeah. Well, hey, Ed Asner had the sense of humor to go, granny goodness? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
For the Justice League cartoon.
Yeah.
I mean, there are...
I'm pretty sure that if Zack Snyder had called him up and said, we're going to put Granny Goodness in this episode, would you like to be in the movie? And he'd be like, sure.
Yeah.
Do I get the fake boobs?
Yeah.
Ed was awesome. He also had a real good connection with artists because he had his charity and he would get artists to donate art and stuff. But it wasn't just like, one of his representatives said, hey, Ed Asner's doing this, would you care? He would call people individually. Sanford Green posted this great story on Twitter about how Ed Asner called him up and asked about, talked to him and asked about if he could donate something, but also asked him, well, what are you working on? What book are you doing? And he told him about Bitterroot. And he said, well, I'll be happy to send you some books. And Ed's like, no. I want to support you, so I want to go out and I want to buy these books. And, you hear that, and it's really like, no, I don't want to bother with your book. Just I'm doing the Hollywood nicety. And I guess a few weeks later, Asner posts on Twitter holding copies of Bitter Root that he went to the store and bought, and said, my weekend reading is sorted. I can't wait to dive into these. And he listed the creators, and it like blew up Sanford's his Twitter account. And I hear a bunch of stories like that. You know, Cat Stagg, you know, and he would call anytime. He would call personally and ask these artists.
Right, right. Well, of course, he you know, was it SAG that he was the president of for so long?
Yeah, SAG after,
I mean, he's a champion, was champion of creator rights.
He back in 2017, his kids opened up the Ed Asner Foundation, which is for people with not disabilities, but like disability, but like learning issues and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a disability, learning disabilities.
But it basically not only helped them, had classes for them, it helped the family, it was support groups, all this kind of stuff. And it just, I mean, he's listed as being, you know, actor to philanthropist.
Yeah.
You don't throw that philanthropist title around very easily. You actually earn it. So, and then you look at him as an actor, and there was nothing he couldn't do. You know, he could play straight, he could play comedy. Just looking at the character of Lou Grant, who went from the Mary Tyler Moore Show, which was a comedy, to the Lou Grant Show, which was a drama.
Which I will admit, I am old enough to have watched that transition, and I was like, what's going on? This is almost like a cop show or something. You know, I mean, it's a drama, but this is Lou Grant. He's supposed to be funny, but I still watched it.
Yeah.
You know, I still kept watching it. It's like, well.
I had to be like, I think it was 82 that it debuted. I was 12 years old and I was watching it.
Yeah.
But I remember watching it not so much because I watched the Mary Tyler Moore Show, but I liked the Lou Grant Show. I didn't watch Mary Tyler Moore that much as a kid. I came to appreciate it later on. I didn't watch a lot of television as a kid. I was in the room playing with my action figures.
I don't understand. You can't play with your action figures while watching TV? I still do that.
I honestly don't know what you're talking about. How would that even be possible? You know? Spider-Man
walks however a spider can.
That was hearing that this morning was very sad. Yeah. And I think that means only Betty White is left from the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
I would have. Is the lady who played Georgette? Has she passed? Wow.
Yeah. So, recently, when is it Gavin McLeod was on the show?
Yeah.
When he passed, I think Ed passed. Tweeted to Betty, "It's just the two of us now."
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But part of Sanford's tweet was he talked to Ed like 3 weeks ago about the art auction.
Yeah.
And just, you know. But the news report said that he died at home with his family peacefully at 91. And I'm thinking, if we could all have that.
Yeah.
You know? So, rest in peace, Ed. Yeah. And it was
and thanks for all the entertainment.
Yes. And for all the entertainment to come. Because he, like you said, he's still got a bunch of stuff to come out. I mean, for even if you don't know any of the other stuff he's done, Up. He was the voice in Up.
What's Up?
Really, Paul?
I don't actually watch Pixar movies other than The Incredibles. I know it makes me a bad geek, but there you have it.
Yeah, Oscar-winning, the Oscar winner, Up, was...
Oh, really?
Ed
I did not know that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ed played the old man in it.
Yes, that I was aware of. Yes.
Yeah. So I think just about every generation has their Ed Asner character, Ed Asner role.
Yes.
And
Yep.
yeah, it's just, and it was already a sad weekend for a lot of us because it's a year since Chadwick Boseman passed,
Right.
and it was the birthday of Jack Kirby, so
Mhm.
there's a lot of that going on. So, but here we are on Sunday, and we have other stuff to talk about.
Moving on from the melancholy.
Yes. The biggest trailer to ever drop. 36 million views in like the first 17 hours. Beat the Batman trailer when it dropped.
Yeah.
Spider-Man No Way Home. What the hell is that?
Oh, I thought it was Spider-Man and his amazing multiverse.
Good. Yeah.
Did you see Miss Lion in it?
Yeah. There was a Firestar was holding her, but still in the Angelica form.
Yeah. The dog could have been there.
Absolutely. I watched that multiple times, and Lisa watched it and said, "What's wrong with Doctor Strange?" Like, what? He was nice to Peter. Like, yeah, she goes, "That's not Doctor Strange."
Plus, he was cuddled up with Coco in his sweats and PJs.
Yeah. And for Fox's sake,
with the cloak of levitation.
I don't think he has a choice with the cloak. I think the cloak just gets on him whenever it wants to.
Yeah.
But his hair was wrong.
Yeah.
That what bugged me was his hair. It looked like fake hair. It looked fake. And then later on in the trailer, when he's actually looks like he's fighting Peter, his hair looks right.
Yeah.
So now I'm all suspicious. It's all sus.
Well, I was going to say, you know what I'm going to say. The original one is Mephisto.
Yes.
Or Mephisto, depending on how you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've heard it mostly as Mephisto. Yeah. Mephisto sounds more like Weird Al's parody version of him.
Yeah. Mephisto.
Yes.
Mephisto tired. And I'm going to go on because he's been walking a lot.
Yeah. By the way, anybody watching, you want to chime in on your thoughts on the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer? Now's a good time.
Or any of my awful, not embarrassing comments.
By the way, if we get enough votes that we're going to mute Paul, that can happen. So you haven't been muted yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but looking at that trailer, it almost felt like three different trailers.
Yeah,
You've got the whole, oh my God, my identity's been out there, and then there's that scene where someone slaps files down on the table, and he's got somewhat hairy arms. People are like, "That's Charlie Cox," and they're like doing comparison of arms online. I'm like, really? That's the same suit he wears.
Spider-Man attacked poor Mysterio. It's like, couldn't the authorities just let it out that Mysterio was not a good guy?
Yeah. Or how about Nick Fury, who's actually Talos, come walking out as Peter Parker standing next to Spider-Man? And then
how about Charlie Cox coming out wearing the Spider-Man costume? Then it'd be just like the comics.
Yeah, that would be a good way to go. That would be.
Or Charlie Cox comes out dressed as Peter Parker.
Don't know if that would work as well.
Probably not, but
yeah. But Daredevil posing as Spider-Man would be a good way to go.
Yeah.
But so you got that whole trailer thing, and you got the Ditko graffiti in the background, which was nice.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we're in this completely different movie, and it's snowing inside of the sanctum, and it's not snowing outside. I keep hearing people go, Now, there's still a hole in the roof from where the Hulk fell through. And I'm like, no, there's not. Because it's not like it's snowing from outside, because it's not snowing outside.
Yeah. Yeah. I think also it wouldn't have seemed so weird if it was like, oh, well, there's a perfectly logical explanation. No, there isn't. That's the point.
Uh-huh. And it's not just snow. There is frost on all the walls.
Yeah.
I mean, that is some cold. And it's so cold that Wong is leaving.
Yeah. It's heading to Bermuda.
That's right. Don't do that.
New
spell.
comic by John Layman. No. Not that Bermuda.
Yeah. So yeah, that was that's just a very weird trailer. And then I've got my theories about the spell he does,
mm-hmm.
and how there's this one band of runes floating around them.
Yeah.
And he's doing the spell, and then Peter goes, wait, no, MJ needs to remember. And then suddenly there's another band of runes around. And Ned needs to, and then there's an Aunt May. And then suddenly there's 4 bands instead of
Strange keeps going like, hey, stop. He keeps trying to get him to knock it off.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if maybe each time he brings up a different person, it taps into a different multiverse where that particular thing, it's almost like he's, and this is my guess, is that he's creating a spell to pull those memories over. Like, okay, we're going to pull from a multiverse where no one knows Peter Parker's Spider-Man. It'll work. We'll just exchange those memories. And then all of a sudden, oh no, Ned needs to know. Well, that's a different universe. So we got to pull. So now we're pulling from there. Oh, MJ needs to know. And that's why we're going to get like we're going to get Alfred Molina and we're going to get Jamie Foxx, because each time he did that, he tapped into a different multiverse.
See, and I felt it was probably not so much that was what he was doing, or that was what he was intending, as perhaps that was what he was doing, because after all, despite being the master of the mystic arts, he's still kind of a newbie.
Yeah.
So, I think he's starting the spell and does it, and it gets out of control when Peter just starts throwing in all this stuff.
Yeah.
But
the reason I think it taps into the 4 different ones, because it's our universe, it's the Sam Raimi universe, it's the Mark Webb universe, and then it's the Venom universe, is what I think. And this is how they're going to tie into the Sony Venom stuff. And that's how we end up with Michael Keaton's character showing up in Morbius.
There you go. Yeah.
So
of course, isn't oh shoot, come on, Paul. J.K. Simmons, isn't he Jonah Jameson in more than one universe?
Yeah.
So he's probably the one that messed it all up.
Oh, probably. Parker!
Bring me pictures of Spider-Man.
He's a menace. Yeah.
Threat or menace, you decide.
That's right. Yeah. So, any part of the trailer surprised you?
Actually, the thing, and I know everybody's focused on it, but just Tom Holland's delivery on what just happened.
It's a really good delivery.
Oh man, I just something has gone horribly wrong. You have to expect Ron Howard's voice to break in. Well, nothing good, I'll tell you that.
Or Morgan Freeman. Yeah. That's when he found out that everything got fucked up. It's a crazy trailer.
How about you? Something jump out at you?
Well, you probably saw it online, but when I first saw Alfred Molina, it made me think of Tom Jones.
Yes. You asked, am I
Yes.
the only one? And I replied, yes.
But you notice a lot of other people didn't. They also, they went for the it's not unusual joke. But some other people went, yeah, I see it.
Yeah, but that's just a matter of confirmation bias going on there. You planted it in their head and they went, oh, okay, if you say so, Dan. But most of the people I noticed were like, huh, really? Okay, sure. Now the not unusual joke, I mean, you don't actually have to see it to make that joke.
True. Yeah, Scott Dunbier made that joke.
Yeah. Well, when you make the reference, that mental image just smashes into you like a thunderball.
Yep. Oh yeah. Nice.
Thank you. A little rare, a little less known. I don't know how many people actually realize, and it ties in with your
Friday
Connery Friday.
Yeah. Only have 30 more of those to do.
Only 30.
Well, there's 90 more Monday Canes to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Caine has done a lot of movies. So.
Yes, he has. But what's funny is when I posted that, immediately somebody went, so who are you going to do next? I didn't plan on doing these.
Yeah.
I kind of backed my way into these with someone posted a picture of Connery as Ramirez from Highlander. I reposted it, and then people just went crazy for it.
Wow. We were talking about Asner's amazing list of credits.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago, a bunch of us got to meet Chuck McCann at San Diego, and one of my buddies that was there was like, now where do I know him from? So this was afterwards, and he looks up. We're walking along the Embarcadero. He looks up and he's just scrolling, and he's like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Well, you might know him from, the A-Team as Captain Bellybuster, or you might know him from Far Out Space Nuts." Or
that's the one I always think of.
Yeah, or the Alka-Seltzer, was it, commercials? Hi, guy. But
did he do something with Ruth Buzzy? There was some show with Ruth Buzzy, like an alien.
I thought that was Far Out Space Nuts.
I thought Far Out Space Nuts was when he and Bob Denver got into the rocket ship, and was that with Ruth Buzzy too?
I don't think so. Let me do some searching. You're right. It is Bob Denver in that one. Ruth Buzzy. The Ruth Buzzy one was with Jim Nabors, though, I think.
Oh, okay. I just remember the sequence of them. They're the tech guys or the maintenance guy or whatever. They're loading the food into the spaceship. Breakfast, lunch or dinner, lunch. What?
Wow. Yes, it was. You're thinking of The Lost Saucer with Jim Nabors and Ruth Buzzy.
Lost Saucer. Wow.
Yeah, but I was like, wait, I'm pretty sure Ruth Buzzy wasn't in that one. In Far Out Space.
Welcome to Pop Go the Back, as we talk about all the old shows from when we were children. Thanks for coming.
My back, my hip, my shoulder, and my... Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My quip.
And my pension.
Yeah. We're going to do the whole show like this today. We're going to do Old Timers Day.
Why, in my day, we couldn't cast our picture out across the world. Just turn on
we had to write a letter and put a little picture on it and send it to each other.
Yeah, or we'd get one of them soup cans, tie a string between two of them, and you could talk to your neighbor that way.
Or we used a phone that had a line on it.
And no picture.
Yes.
I do remember when I was a kid, they were going to like, video phones will be the big thing, which was going to be like a combination TV and phone.
Yep.
And technology jumped a little too fast.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Brian. Searching for aspirin cream and new friend.
Yes.
Advil is our friend.
And maybe some Rogaine.
Actually, we're sponsored not by aspirin cream, but by Icy Hot. Sorry, random
Icy
thing.
Hot. It's cool. Then it burns.
I think this show has completely gone off the rails.
Yeah. So, Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yes. Far from making sense.
Yeah.
The train scene. Do you think that is
with the revolver cylinder of train?
Yes. Do you think that's actually like a fight scene between the two of them, or is that? Do you think that might be Doctor Strange doing to Spider-Man what the Ancient One did to him, but in less galactic look? So using the train to explain the timeline and how the multiverse works, because that train appears to be going through the Grand Canyon, and I don't think there's currently a train that goes through the Grand Canyon. I might be wrong. I haven't been out there in a very long time, but
yeah, I think it more likely that he's, if it is Doctor Strange, it's more likely he's trying to explain what's going on rather than What I don't understand though is then shouldn't more of the Spider-Men in Into the Spider-Verse understood the concept of multiverses, that Peter learned it that early?
That's a completely different Peter. That one didn't show up.
Well, he was, because one of in Miles's Peter was dead, but then
the Chris Pine version.
Yes. But anyway, that was a weird one, and I'll be curious to see more.
Now, do you think we're going to get all of the rumored appearances that have been talked about? I mean, in the thing we get clearly a pumpkin bomb. Doesn't mean they're definitely going to be Green Goblin, but we get a Green Goblin bomb. And the cackle. We definitely get Alfred Molina.
Yes. Very clearly.
Very clearly. That's definitely Alfred Molina. Hello, Peter. What's new, pussycat? And then we get... And then we know Jamie Foxx.
How many really hyper-talented people were born on May 24th as Alfred Molina was?
No.
Bob Dylan, Gary Berghoff, John C. Reilly, Paul Story. Feel free, everybody, next when May rolls around, send birthday presents care of Dan. Mostly because that will cost him extra in shipping to get them to me.
So I understand Bob Dylan being on that list, but I'm not sure about everybody else.
Oh, come on. Gary Berghoff?
Okay, Gary Berghoff played Radar and...
Snoopy, I believe, in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
Did not know that.
Yep.
Wait, Snoopy doesn't talk.
It's harder to play a character who doesn't talk because you have to emote.
But how do you know it's Gary Berghoff if he doesn't talk?
Because it's not animated, it's people. You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown was a live play.
Oh, did not know that.
Okay. Yeah, Mike, are you feeling okay, Dan?
Did not know about that one. So yes. I thought it was an animated thing. So
no.
Perhaps I need some of that Nuprin.
or some ginkgo biloba.
Yeah, that stuff that's made from the octopus, whatever.
Yeah, of course. I like the so long as this isn't the horse dewormer.
Yep.
Says here I'm supposed to rub it in my armpits. Do you think I should eat it instead? Mercurochrome.
Yes. So
that was that Paul Simon song.
Mama, don't take my mercurochrome away.
Yes.
All right. You and I are just at that right age that we get each other's jokes, but nobody in our Yeah. We have the largest cricket audience of any YouTube show ever.
Yeah. Well, hopefully all our viewers are going to like hit Google right there to like, oh, what is that a reference to?
Yes. Paul Simon, Kodachrome. Okay.
Kodachrome.
So there was an old kind of. So cameras used to use film.
Like plastic wrap?
Yeah.
All right. So we're still talking about. Do we think that we'll see all of the people that have been into that?
Jamie Foxx has said he's in the movie, and we do get lightning strikes. And there's been talk that they're not going to do blue; they're going to do yellow, like he is in the comics.
Yeah. So I think we'll get some, but I think that people have gone kind of crazy about going like, oh, everybody will be in this. All the Spider-Man, all the, I think that we'll definitely get some. Obviously, we've already seen, Melina. We've had hints of two others.
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx has outright said he's going to be there, but like, oh, are we going to see Daredevil, or are we going to see Charlie Cox? Are we going to see Matt Murdock? Maybe.
Well, there's also rumors of Sandman, because there's that scene with the dirt coming up and looks like it's protecting or growing in front of Peter, and then there's the thing where the thing claws at him. Everything. Oh, that's the lizard from Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm just like, I don't know. I want to go and see it and be surprised. Yeah,
but I'm hoping it's not going to turn out to be a WandaVision thing, where everybody got so worked up for Mephisto that when it came out, they went, oh, no, that was horrible. Oh, my God, Ralph Boner, what a dumb joke. No, that was supposed to be the X-Men. And it's like, no, they never said they were doing any of that.
Yeah. They never said the X-Men. They never said the Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
they didn't say Reed Richards is coming.
Yep.
So
we set our expectations way too high, and I wonder if we're doing that again here.
Not me. I keep my expectations of movies like I keep my expectations for myself very low.
Okay. But I also wonder if Marvel is keeping that in mind. Like, people are expecting this. We kind of need to deliver, I
don't know that they are, because do you think it's really going to cut into I think millions of people are still going to go see this movie. And I think they're still going to like this movie. And, sometimes the negative word of mouth works almost as well as positive word of mouth.
Yeah.
When they're like, oh, I was so angry, and people are like, oh, good, it pissed people off, I'll go see it. Or maybe that's just me having started working as a retailer.
That could be.
And like when stuff happens that ticks a certain brand of fanboy off, I'm like, yay, how can I support this? I'm a bad person is what I'm saying, and a worse retailer.
I can see that.
I hope my boss doesn't watch this.
Oh, no, nobody does. Trust me.
Okay.
I've seen the numbers. Nobody's watching.
Well, Brian's here.
Well, yeah, Brian's. We do this show for Brian, and Bob Crochet's and a couple other people that pop by. But
my buddy Sparky stopped by a few weeks.
Sparky Santos, yeah.
So.
Yeah, and mainly we also do this so Jim Beard has a place to come and hang out on whenever a new show starts.
Yeah, once every 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
go ahead.
No, I was gonna segue, and I think you still have stuff you need to talk about. Let it out.
Well, I want to slightly segue off of this, but do you think that Marvel is screwing up the promotional aspect right now? Brian's here for the cheese puns.
Well, that's Gouda.
Yeah, I was going to do the same joke.
See, we're on the...
Yeah. We're equally monsters on this. What I was thinking is we've got Shang-Chi coming out in 5 days.
Yeah.
But nobody's talking about it anymore.
You know what, though? Marvel, I think part of it, though, is Marvel didn't screw anything up. It was the leak that made them jump the gun. I think this would have been released after Shang-Chi was out. If somebody would have
dropped it the night of CinemaCon?
No, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I often am.
They also dropped the final trailer for the Eternals, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Which just seems like, why are they pushing everything so fast?
Because it's like an avalanche coming at us of Marvel projects.
Well, that's true, but there's also the fact that, just this last week, or not this week, but the previous week, we got the Spider-Man trailer, we got the Eternals trailer, we got the Chadwick Boseman episode of What If.
Yeah.
Then we get the Ant-Man up Thanos' butt episode of What If, basically. And then it's like they're throwing all of this stuff out there, and it's almost overwhelming where they could pace this out a little more. And then Kevin Feige's not helping. He's sitting there during an interview and just decides to announce that Dominic Thorne, who's going to play Ironheart, Riri Williams, is suddenly appearing, is going to be in Wakanda forever. And she's starting filming now. And sure, there's photos of her on set now, but nobody knew that, or Ben Kingsley at the premiere of Shang-Chi going, oh yeah, I'm in this movie. It just seems like they don't have that tight control over the news getting out as they used to.
Did you see the meme about Tom Holland hearing that there was a big leak about his movie, and then him looking relieved, Tom Holland realizing he wasn't the one that spoiled it.
Yes. Oh, the guy who spoiled it. I don't know his name, but it was a picture. It was like somebody videoed somebody else's phone that had it on there, and the watermark said the guy's name.
Oopsie.
Yes. So you're done in the industry. How would you like to? When would you like to start here at Del Taco?
No, it was from an alternate universe version of me. Leaked it there, and it leaked onto my. It dimensionally crossed over to my phone.
Before we get to What If, and being that this is a 90-minute show and we're only at the 45-minute mark, I can go on to a different topic. Did you watch the Star Wars gallery thing for the second part for Mandalorian Season 2 that focused just on the finale?
Oh no, I have been really. It's been really hectic. That was one of the things that I wanted to do, but haven't had a chance yet. Was it pretty cool? Did they show actual scenes of Mark Hamill acting, and then before
the entire 45 minutes is simply about that scene. Yeah. It's not even about the rest of the finale, because they did all of that in the first gallery they did for Season 2. This was simply about the Luke Skywalker scene.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's some great stuff in there. But, and I'm going to go on a rant here because I'm in a rant mood. It came out that how they kept it a secret was they put in the script that Plo Koon was going to be the Jedi to come get Grogu. Now, for anybody who's a fan of Clone Wars or the prequels, you have an idea who Plo Koon is, but he's not so popular that everybody goes, "Oh my God, Plo Koon!" You're looking him up, aren't you?
I am, because
You don't know who Plo Koon is. You'll recognize him.
I
when you see
probably
him.
do, but yeah, it's one of those like I am not.
Everybody, please take a moment and look up Plo Koon. He's got the little mouth breather part over it and the little silver over his eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I gotcha. He was wasn't he Ahsoka's master before he found her and passed her on to the Jedi Academy?
I think so. And he dies at the end of the third of the prequels. You know, he's the one that dies in his ship. You know, but Dave Filoni is known to being just in love with Plo Koon. It's his favorite Jedi. So when they said, "Okay, we'll make it Plo Koon," everybody will believe it because they'll believe that Dave Filoni wants to bring Plo Koon back. Well, then what they did was they went to the concept artist and they had them do all the concept art with Plo Koon. Terrific. Okay. Well, when this came out, a handful of people, like 6 or 7 people, posted, "Oh, it would have been really cool if it had been Plo Koon." You know, like, "Oh, I would have rather it's in Plo Koon." One of the comic book news sites did an article, Mandalorian fans would have preferred Plo Koon over Luke Skywalker. And it's like, no, they wouldn't. No.
So not.
Yeah. That's the dumbest headline anybody has ever written. You know? I mean, my mother got into watching all the Star Wars stuff recently. We did Monday movie nights. We watched a new one. We did the originals. We did the prequels. We did Solo. We did Rogue One. And then we did both seasons of The Mandalorian. Yes, right. I'm skipping certain movies. Mm-hmm. My mom doesn't know those exist. And when we got to that scene in The Mandalorian and she saw the X-Wing come in, she goes, "Wait, we know who that is, don't we?" And then the gloved hand, the green lightsaber, and she's like, "Is that Luke?" And my mother's 78 years old, and she doesn't remember my name. So that shows how, you know, Plo Koon would have meant nothing to her. The only other Jedi I can think of that might have gotten even 20% of the reaction Luke Skywalker would have got was Mace Windu.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if it suddenly was a purple lightsaber, everybody would be like, you know. But Lisa, when we watched it together, I had already seen it, but I kind of watched it again just to get her reaction. And she spent the entire episode, and anytime it comes up now, saying, "Mother effing Luke Skywalker," and she doesn't edit herself.
Yeah.
But we talk about, remember the finale? You go, "Oh, Mother effing Luke Skywalker?" Yeah. There's no way Plo Koon would have gotten that reaction out of everybody.
Yeah.
Or of anybody.
They would have been like, "Which one is he again?"
Yeah, let me look him up.
Yeah.
Which one is that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So for this site to run that, it's like ultimate clickbait. That is the dumbest headline I've ever seen. Would it have been an interesting story? I'm sure they could have made it an interesting story.
Sure.
Yeah. But it wouldn't have had the dramatic impact as Mother effing Luke Skywalker.
Plus, we know that at that time he's out gathering pupils.
And we know at that time Plo Koon's dead. Now you've got to explain.
I did not remember that.
Yeah. Well, they killed a lot of Jedi, so you kind of had a small number you could go by. And Mace Windu's supposed to be dead too, but Samuel Jackson says he's not dead. And if Samuel Jackson says Mace Windu's not dead, he ain't dead. He's about the only one that can override it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's going to argue with him, really?
Yeah. And if you've got a what if series, how have we not gotten what if Nick Fury and Mace Windu? What if we'll just call it the Favreau-verse and we get Mandalorian and Iron Man? I mean, these are ones that we should get. You know? It's a what if. It's a multiverse. They can do what they want. Disney owns it all.
It seems distracting to me for somebody who's complaining about overwhelm.
Would you not sit down happily with a bag of popcorn to watch Mace Windu and Nick Fury work together?
I would actually be disoriented by the crossover. I really would, but or dissatisfied. I like my franchises to stay generally separate.
And that's why you do it in a what if where it doesn't count.
But I think though that they have plans for what if to count, and so that's
I get that. I get that. I do see that they do have this overall plan. But I still think they could do fun little side stories.
Are you saying filler episodes?
No.
Because I seem to remember you disliking filler episodes.
If you're doing an event series, I don't think What If is an event series.
I don't think Bad Batch was an event series either, but that didn't stop you.
Erin Kellyman could be involved, as Brian says.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Because she's both the Flag Smasher and Empress Nest.
Yeah,
Empress Nest.
Yes.
Yeah, and what was her name? Carrie. Oh, what is the Flag Smasher's name? Not gonna remember.
Oh, now you got me. Oh, shoot. How can I not remember that? It was my favorite.
It was Carl something or other in the comics.
Yes.
Morgenthau. It's Carrie Morgenthau.
Morgenthau. You are correct.
Yeah, Empress Nest and Carrie Morgenthau. By the way, the fact that I couldn't remember Morgenthau, but I pull up Empress Nest.
Yes. Well, obviously, you're not really a Marvel fan. You're just a Star Wars fan. So take that poster down right now. Shame. Shame. Shame.
I'm so glad that's up there with Velcro.
Meanwhile, of course, I couldn't remember either name. So
yeah. Shame. Shame.
Doesn't work when you do it.
Yeah, I know.
Nice Velcro, huh?
Yeah. What's funny is that it actually came off of the other Velcro. So neither of the Velcro pieces came. It just came off the sticky part.
Uh-oh. Well. So, are you, this is just because I've been thinking about this. You were complaining about the onslaught. Sorry, that's an X thing. Of all the promotional stuff. Are you still excited for Shang-Chi?
I'm very excited for Shang-Chi. Everything I've been hearing about it sounds awesome. I'm still confused about the character of Death Dealer because we've never seen Under the Mask, you know.
Right.
And while they hadn't announced who is actually playing the character, we now know, at least I know, because a comic shop owner I know just announced that the actor is actually going to be showing up at his store. Let me pull the name.
Spoilers, dude. And it's spoilers for something that hasn't come out yet. Now, is this just a stunt person, though?
Yeah, this is the guy under the costume.
Oh, okay.
The guy in the costume is Andy Lee. L-E as his last name. He's going to be appearing at Atomic Basement Comics and Creators Lab. Let's see. He's going to appear there on Friday, September 3rd. So the day it comes out, You can go to Atomic Basement Comics in Long Beach and meet Andy Lee, who is the guy portraying Death Dealer in Shang-Chi. Now, I don't know if they'll ever be revealed or if they'll pull the mask off and Michelle Yeoh will be under the costume or somebody. That's who I thought it was at first, because in the original trailer, Michelle Yeoh never appeared. And I thought, well, that makes sense. And it kind of looked like a female form to me. My apologies to Andy.
So, now, what I think is going to be funny is they're going to be talking about Death Dealer, and finally the mask will come off, and it'll be Taylor Slattery.
Trevor Slattery, yes.
Trevor Slattery. Oh, good. I couldn't breathe in there. Yeah.
That would be awesome, by the way. Yes, if that's
made
Ben
me learn
Kingsley.
Kung Fu.
Oh my God, if that was Ben Kingsley in there, that would be just beautiful. And well, because in the comics, Death Dealer isn't Asian; he's a British former MI6.
Yeah.
So that would be an interesting twist that I hadn't even thought of. I thought, well done, Paul. Yeah, if he pulled that off, nobody would believe that Trevor Slattery looks like that. That build, or Sir Ben Kingsley. Yes.
Yeah, he went through an intensive mental and physical regimen to turn him into.
But the only problem is that he was actually training him as a kid.
Well, yeah, but there's a whole multiversal thing going on lately. So,
yes. Unless Trevor was an undercover agent,
or the only reason that he's able to beat Trevor is because beat Death Dealer is because they subbed in Trevor Slattery as a red herring, so to speak.
Yeah,
and then Michelle Yeoh will jump out and go ha ha and beat him up.
I wonder if there's ever been a comic character named Red Herring.
Oh, there's got to be somewhere in the Tick, if nothing else.
In Tick, or I think we should get a hold of Tom, because I think that's a good Love and Capes character name.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah. Yes. Quick, somebody contact Tom Zoller.
There was a character named Red Herring in Scooby-Doo Team Up. It's Scooby Time.
I could see that.
So,
yeah. All right, we have been completely off the rails here today, just kind of wandering about. But this is what happens when we're doing unplanned show. Again, remember, this show was not going to happen, and we just kind of got together to talk.
Yeah. What happened was that somebody, Superboy Prime, punched the walls of reality, and that's how we ended up with this show.
Punching at the walls of heartache, bang, bang, bang. I am the Superboy.
That's such a disrespectful thing to do to Patti Smith.
Off.
Oh, there you are.
Okay.
See, every time I freeze for you, you freeze for me.
That sounds like the worst song ever.
It does. I thought, man, that sounds like an 80s, synth pop lyric.
When I freeze for you, you freeze for me.
Oh, what's that Adamant song? Strip.
Yes.
Has that basically. I'll strip for you if you strip for me.
Yep.
There we go.
I really like
Adamant. It ties in because comics are also in strips.
Mm-hmm. By the way, now that we are... By the way, if you want to watch what might be the most bizarre Adamant movie ever, and I only know a handful of people who even know this movie exists. Mm-hmm. I caught it in the theater. There was 6 of us in the entire theater. Nobody was with a friend. It was 6 individuals in the theater. It's called World Gone Wild.
Okay.
It stars Adamant is the bad guy named Derek, who wears all white. And if you know anything about Adamant, his first album, Adam and the Ants, was Derek Wears White Shoes.
Uh,
The heroes of it are Bruce Dern, Michael Pare,
wow.
and Julius Carey, I think his name is. The really tall black guy. He was on Murphy Brown. He's been in a bunch of... He was on Briscoe County Jr. as Lord Bowler.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of other... Alan Autry's in it. One of Gene Autry's kids. And the whole idea of it is that there's been a post-apocalyptic thing, and water is scarce, and you fight for it, and it's like the total Mad Max type world, except in this one little area called Lost Wells that Bruce Dern is the shaman for, and they have water, but Adamant is coming in and taking all their people and taking their stuff. So he hires this group like the Magnificent Seven of these bad guys and loners led by Michael Pare to come in and clean up the town. And
is Michael Pare's character named Tom?
It might be. It's been a long time. The only time I've ever had a second chance to watch it was there was something called Cody, which is this thing on Roku. It's this program that goes out and finds all these, and I found it on Cody. But other than seeing it, I can't find it anywhere. But there's this great scene. You have Adamant here. His men are all around him. It's the very beginning. Bruce Dern comes walking with a stick. And he comes prosed, and he's like, "So I'm supposed to be impressed?" And Dern, without even thinking about it, just puts his stick into this hubcap that's on the ground, flicks it with his wrist, and the hubcap goes into the throat of the guy next to Adamant. Kills him, and he falls to the ground. And Adamant looks over and goes, "I'm not sure if I should be mad or impressed." It's just, he preaches from the book, The Wit and Wisdom of Charles Manson. It is a really weird movie.
Sounds like. I can't believe that I missed that.
Yeah, if you can find it, World Gone Wild. It's basically the Magnificent Seven in a post-apocalyptic setting.
I'm very disappointed. Pare's character's named George Landon.
Mm.
Well, maybe it happened. No, I was going to say maybe it happened before
Streets of Fire.
Streets of Fire, but sadly, no.
No. Yeah. No, I saw that in, I want to say it was 1988, because I think I was just graduated and I was going to the theater.
It came out in 87, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So
yeah.
It is a hard movie to find, but it is silly fun. So, all right. Yeah. Let's get to What If. Unless anybody else has any questions. What if we did a week without the What If?
I was shocked that this was your favorite episode.
Really?
Yeah. I had a very different reaction to it. I was like, it was okay, but and it did go a long way towards showing us how interconnected the three movies were.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed very, very set up. It just didn't seem. It was a way to clear the decks of some of the Avengers.
For me, it picked up on the comic tie-in they did, Fury's Big Week.
Yeah,
that showed that these three movies all take place at the same time in the MCU, even though they came out in weird order.
Yeah,
in the timeline, they all happen the same week, and the comic is all about what Fury's doing when all this is going on. So for them to pick Fury's Big Week as the thing they're basically doing surprised me.
Right.
I grew up a fan of Yellow Jacket, so to see Hank in action as Yellow Jacket, even with him, because he snapped in the comics too. Yeah. So that made sense to me.
I want to see the actual Yellow Jacket costume on film, though.
Yeah, that would be cool. I do love that costume. But it was an actual mystery. The other two were like, hey, what would happen if Captain Carter, and then we get the big swing music and the da, and they're going around and stuff. Or with the T'Challa one, it's like, oh, he could talk Thanos out of doing genocide, but there really wasn't a lot of consequences. It was more, it felt more fun. Where this felt much more like the What If comics to me, that there were actually things with consequence. There was actual, it wasn't just, let's swap this and see what happens. This was, well, what if Hope Van Dyne joined S.H.I.E.L.D. after, when she, got old enough, instead of, joining her father's company? What if she knew that, she was doing the Wasp stuff? And then to see the fallout, and also to see just how powerful the Ant-Man character could be.
Yeah.
Who is really the first Marvel comic character, well, the modern Marvel comic character. Stan and I want to say it was Dick Ayers or maybe Herb Trimpe did that comic. But, they created him before they put him in the Ant-Man costume. He was shrunk down and, he appeared before Fantastic Four. And he is really an amazingly powerful character. And we get to see that in how he took out the Hulk. I mean, that's just a gross-ass way to take out the Hulk, but...
I didn't quite get that. What was it that he did to the Hulk?
Well, he got into the side of the Hulk before he changed. And then while inside, he used one of his growth darts, or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Growth spinner, fidget spinners.
Yeah.
To enlarge his heart. So his heart kept growing and pumping more blood and all of this, and overflooded the body and ended up blowing up the body.
Interesting. Okay, see, and I missed that entirely in the process of.
Probably should.
Oh, now you put up spoilers?
Yeah, I forgot. We are talking spoilers for the third episode. I kind of think people have seen it, but it's one of those where people are either watching the show or they're not. My nephew and his boyfriend just came home today, and they're like, oh, we watched What If finally. It's great. Like, yeah. And they're like, and that third one, my God, that was dark. Yeah. But, and then they did the kind of identity crisis killing of Hawkeye with him going in and causing the aneurysm.
Right.
And Thor didn't have his powers at that point, so killing him with an arrow is possible.
Sure.
It just shows that somebody like Ant-Man, with the intelligence of Hank Pym, is pretty damn scary.
You're saying that Scott Lang isn't as bright as the guy who actually invented the shrinking stuff?
No, he's a good engineer. He's a good criminal. But no, he's not quite as bright, because I think he would have gone for the whole up Thanos' butt thing right away.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. For some reason I felt it was for me it was anticlimactic. I wanted it just felt very Prelude to me. Which the others felt more self-contained.
Felt like a murder mystery to me.
Well, except that they never actually gave you clues that would allow you to solve it. It was not a fair play mystery.
The clues worked to me, the clues worked at the end. Hawkeye shooting the arrow. What made him do it? Well, okay, that makes sense. Hawkeye being found dead. So no, they didn't give you the clues up front, but they did give you enough. And if you at any point went, Hawkeye, as soon as she said Hope, it should have been obvious.
Oh, sure. Once she said it's all about Hope, I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Although not quite, obviously not why, since we hadn't. That's why I'm saying it wasn't a fair play mystery. It was it was a little bit more like Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
where they ran back through and showed you, what happened to get us to the end. But it certainly was not something that you could have figured out.
Well, I liken it to, again, spoilers, Murder on the Orient Express. You can't solve Murder on the Orient Express. Even with the clues they give you, you can't solve it because there's the one conceit that nobody ever goes toward, which is that it could be everybody.
Yeah.
So I kind of liken it to that as well. And in the Kenneth Branagh version and the original film as well, and even in the book, they do that. They go back and show you how it all works.
Sure.
So it still works as a murder mystery to me. It works like an Agatha Christie murder mystery. It's just done in such a short amount of time. Had it been an hour and they could spread it out a little more, that might have been. But
like Thanos's.
And I thought some of the jokes that were in there were just so funny. He smells like lavender and great hair. I mean, Clark Gregg must have been having fun coming back and doing that.
Yeah.
And
I miss Coulson.
I do too. I really wish they would bring him back. But I thought it was really interesting that Michael Douglas came back to do this role.
Yes.
Which I thought was awesome. I think that made it for me. It's like, oh, that's actually Michael Douglas. And the look they gave him was so over the top insane. I'm like, oh, I'm loving it. I loved it. I really, it is my favorite episode because, like I said, it was more than just, let's swap these characters and see what happens. It was.
I think they should have called the episode, though, Shrinking Down. And that would have given us a clue that Michael Douglas was the.
They didn't even put his name in the opening credits.
Yeah.
So no, I think for me the mystery works, and I love mysteries, and especially if I can't solve it. Well, I got it when the name Hope popped up.
Yeah.
But if I can't figure out the mystery, I am all for it. But
and again, I agree with you. Although, again, there are revelation mysteries and there are fair play mysteries, and I didn't think that they gave us enough clues on this one. But it was still a fun. I mean, it was still a fun episode.
Yeah.
It's it just didn't tickle my fancy like the first two did.
Yeah, but also with What If, they always had that kind of O. Henry ending, where whatever had happened had made the world worse. And that definitely feels like how we ended this one, where the other ones, it was more, Peter Quill met his dad. That's the bad part. Everything else about it was a positive. Oh yeah, the world's a better place, and they took care of the Collector, but Thanos is a good guy. And same with the Captain the Captain Carter one. It just everything was better in a way because of it. Unless you're Steve Rogers, then you're still a tiny little guy with a bad leg now.
Yeah.
And your girlfriend just left for 70 years in the future.
Yeah.
And the odds.
And you didn't survive.
Yeah.
So you didn't even survive to get Alzheimer's.
That's right. Yeah, because he had a lot of stuff wrong with him. He probably died soon after.
Yeah.
He was a sickly kid. But
probably died in the 50s of polio before
absolutely.
Salk, came up with vaccine.
Yeah, Peggy pretty much killed him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, had she just gone upstairs. Nope. She wanted to stay in the room, and now Steve Rogers is dead.
Wow. Poor Steve. You and poor Peggy.
And poor Captain
So
Phillips.
you're a big meanie, Dan.
And poor Captain Phillips or Colonel Phillips, Tommy Lee Jones' character, who had the best line in that entire movie.
He's still skinny?
No, I'm not going to kiss you.
Oh.
It was just a great line.
Sure.
Did you know that when they were doing the first episode, there was a push and it got rejected, but there was a push to have the Rocketeer appear?
That would have been great.
You know what the connection is, right?
Huh?
You know what the connection is?
You mean Joe Johnson doing both the Rocketeer and Captain America: The First Avenger? No, I don't know anything about that.
For our fans who may not know, the director of the Rocketeer movie with Bill Campbell was also the director of Captain America: The First Avenger.
So,
both of which are owned by Disney.
By the way, Brian was asking about episode 4, and I believe it is going to be about Doctor Strange.
That is my belief too. But then someone in the industry I was talking to said that they think that's actually going to be the 5th episode, and they don't know what number 4 is going to be. I've been up until now. I think it's the Doctor Strange, but you've got the Doctor Strange episode. You've got the Killmonger episode.
Apparently, there's one about Thor being banished to Earth while still being worthy.
Yeah, Party Thor.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there's one where we're going to meet a new Gamora who wears Thanos' armor. And we don't know if they're actually going to I'm going to turn my light on here. We don't know if they're going to revisit any of these worlds, or if we're just going to continue. I mean, we know that some of these characters popped out.
Yeah, I think we're going to revisit when when whatever version of Doctor Strange plucks the heroes to become the Guardians of the Multiverse.
Yeah. So it should be interesting, but yeah, I'm kind of at a point where I was so blown away by this last episode that I kind of hope they keep doing things like this that is just so out of left field.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we do agree that it blew.
You know, Frank Grillo came back to do the 2 lines as Brock Rumlow.
Yep, I did see that.
That amazes me. Yet Scarlett Johansson didn't come back. Chris Evans didn't come back. Peter Quill.
Now, didn't you say? I thought you said there was something about the there was a scheduling issue with Evans.
No, it was Dave Bautista was a scheduling issue.
Ah, okay, all right.
I think it's the character.
Well,
yeah,
I just wonder. Depends on how long strife has been going on between Johansson and Disney behind the scenes.
True, but you gotta look at these actors going. Samuel L. Jackson and Michael Douglas came back.
Well, sure, but if you're having contractual disputes, you don't go like, "Well, we're in a big legal battle, but I'll come back for that."
Kurt Russell came back for 1 line.
He's not in a big legal battle.
Yeah, but Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Pratt aren't either.
Yeah, although actually I can understand because Downey was kind of like, nope,
yeah, both Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson, their characters are all dead too. So maybe they feel like, let me just move on, okay? Our characters are gone.
Although isn't Evans still supposedly rumored to be showing up for something?
There's rumors. There's lots of rumors, but I guess they were talking to the head writer, and when they were talking about this episode and the fact that it goes back to the Incredible Hulk movie, they're like, and she's like, if we can't get Mark Ruffalo to come back, we should approach Ed Norton. Maybe we can get Ed Norton. And they quickly informed her, Ruffalo already said he's coming back. Before they even got to what the episodes are, he's in. So just nip that in the bud. But what did you think about them kind of just flipping those two, giving him more of a Mark Ruffalo look?
I thought it was fine because I am generally of the opinion that comic book movies should be a little bit more like James Bond movies, where you just recast and you don't need to repeat the origin sequence every 3 movies. You know, you don't have to just move on, recast, move on. As much as I love Chris Evans as Captain America, I would have also been perfectly okay if they'd recast him and moved on.
Yeah.
That's I don't know how many people want to slide into those boots.
Yeah.
You know, because those are and going with Sam avoid some of that. But yeah, it's yeah. I just, you know, it's like the whole Peter Parker thing with Spider-Man. You don't have to go back and you know. I suppose they had to. Tobey Maguire really couldn't do a second movie as a high school student, since he was like, I think 30 when he did the first one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm so like recasting in an animated thing like that. I'm sure that I bet Ed Norton didn't mind. So
Yeah.
I am a little disappointed that Abomination wasn't there.
Yeah, but he didn't show up in that particular scene. He didn't come out until Hulk was out further into the field, and then they released Blonsky.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and plus the question of whether Blonsky would have had that half-assed serum, because you know, because the difference between Peggy versus
not the same universe.
Steve. Yeah.
Because Steve is in the ice at the end, so it's not the Peggy one.
Right. Oh, that's Good point.
Yeah, it's getting hard to keep track of those. It's like you have to forget the other episodes exist, and when you sit down to watch a new one, it's like, okay, we're starting back at the MCU. You know.
But it's you know, the series. If you're going to argue that you know, that there were big changes, it's not that hard to just go, you know, maybe Pym took out Blonsky, but who cares?
Yeah. Now, it will be interesting if they end up doing, since they're going to do the Killmonger episode.
Yeah.
If we get to see Rhodey. The other major recasting.
Right.
So, will that be Don Cheadle, or will he talk with a higher voice?
I don't know. I do not know all. Well, I guess none of us really know what went on behind the scenes with that, other than it seemed like it was money and a big money issue. But do you ever wonder if Terrence Howard kicks himself on that one?
Well, he went on to the other show, his TV show.
Oh yeah, that's true. Empire.
Yeah,
which was
so he's
very
probably
successful.
fine. Yeah.
And I like Don Cheadle in that role.
I do too. I think he's great. Yeah.
Well,
I
pretty much like Don Cheadle in any role.
Yeah, I didn't hate Terrence Howard in the role. Like I didn't hate Ed Norton in the role of Banner either. I thought he was fine.
Yeah.
But the behind the scenes stuff is what we don't get to see, and that's But
where's Eric Banya? Now that would have been good. If they couldn't get Ruffalo, that they just went and got Eric Banya instead.
Yeah.
So people would just be like, "Wait, what? Who's that even?"
I heard somebody complain that in the movie they named the pizza parlor after Stan Lee, but they didn't have Stan Lee play the owner of the pizza place.
You're right.
And they don't realize that it's a legacy casting anyway, because that's the guy that used to voice the Hulk in the 60s.
Wasn't that also the guy who voiced Peter Parker? Wasn't that Paul Soules?
I think so, but the casting was because he voiced the Hulk.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, because yeah. Um,
Yeah. By the way, all the people who are saying that what we need in No Way Home is Nicholas Hammond to appear, shut up.
oh, they can't because he's blonde now or silver haired. So there's no way around that. So
yeah,
that was as much as I was hungry for superheroes on screen, and no fault of Nicholas Hammond's,
right?
But the Spider-Man show was
horrible.
Yeah, it was not great.
Yeah.
It was not great.
No.
I didn't love the Hulk TV. I watched the Hulk TV show. Didn't love it.
Yeah,
I could never because it was sort of just I
could never get past the name change.
And for me, it was just the, we generally saw the Hulk, in the last 5 minutes go, "Rawr, fix things." And then David would go, "Do, do, do, do," and walk off. I thought maybe a line would have been better, but
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it just, Bill Bixby's great. No offense meant to Mr. Ferrigno, but it just was not. To me, it wasn't the Hulk.
But
plus, they could never figure out how strong the Hulk was.
Right. Now, this will have to be the end of it, but I don't know if it's still the case, but a couple years ago, The Incredible Hulk was the highest rated American TV series ever to air in China.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe they just really love Bill Bixby.
Could be, or they could be that anytime you walk away, you're supposed to have that music.
Yes. Well,
yeah. And I do love that they did put that in the Incredible Hulk movie.
Yeah.
And the Purple Pants. All right, guys, it's been a lot of fun. Paul, thanks for hopping on here, even though we really didn't have it planned. Brian, thanks for sticking around. Everybody else.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun for us. We hope it was at least a little fun for you.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't torturous. And, our Ed Asner tribute, our rant about Plo Koon and everything else. But, Paul, where can folks find you online?
You can find me at Storyville.com, Storyville, at Storyville on Twitter, at Storyville on Instagram, Facebook.com/Storyville. One of these days I should probably plug my coffee, Ko-fi.com/Storyville, where you can give me money.
Oh, okay. If you'd like to give Paul money, you can get a hold of him at Twitter, and he'll tell you where to go to give him money. So,
it's in my bio.
There you go. So I don't know what Ko-fi is. I'm going to have to look into it because I like money too.
Ko-fi. They're micropayments of like $3. The idea is it's enough to buy a coffee, and that's how it's actually pronounced, coffee.
Okay, so it's like a tip jar.
Where can they find you, Dan?
They're probably already found me, being that this is my YouTube channel, this is my social media, Facebook, stuff like that. But if you're watching on The Experience, it is Dan Wickline anywhere you go. So Dan Wickline on Twitter, Dan Wickline on Twitch, on Facebook, on Instagram. It's actually Dan Wick 70. I didn't do that one properly, but everything else is Dan Wickline. So join us there. Also, join me over on The Experience this week on the Dan Wickline Show. And if you get a chance, hop over onto the YouTube page for the Experience and check out my interview with the great Danny Fingeroth.
Right.
So,
and also your Vela.
Yes, my Vela, which is live. There's 3 chapters up on Amazon. It's called the Ember Crest Protocol. I probably should make a banner for that. I'll have that for next week. So if you like James Bond meets Doctor Strange, which is, it's an Hollywood elevator pitch, but it's a 70s Cold War spy thriller where magic is more important than nuclear bombs. So, all right, everybody. Thank you again for tuning in. We will see you this time next week on Pop Go the Writers.